Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Devon O'Day.
I'm Sylvia Gagnier.
It's time for Devon's Table. And sometimes we cook, sometimes we talk about the table or anything about making home a home and bringing people in. And this is by request. We've had some questions and some requests for slow cooking.
And it's the time of year. Keep it easy. Keep like your schedule going when you're trying to zoom around with all the new sports that are starting with kids and everything else. This is a great way to be on schedule to get supper on the table the right time.
Comfort food extraordinaire. Ain't nothing that comes out of a crock pot that is not called comfort food, right?
Amen.
And what are we going to make today?
So I thought we would talk about just doing a braised beef stew. It's super easy, super hearty, and it stretches your budget.
We love that. Well, stick around and we'll give you the how-tos coming up.
Whether grilling is a year-long pursuit or a Memorial Day to Labor Day treat, the spring is a great time to clean, tune up, and inspect your outdoor cooking apparatus. You know, after a long winter, both dormant and active grills require a little love to keep them fired up through another season. Don't wait until the last minute. Grab a warm afternoon, a cold beer, and get ready for a little tender, loving grill care. Here is my big offender, and oftentimes the grill most in need of a good scrub and clean. Although the flavorizer bars do a great job of helping grease burn off, they do nothing for the pounds of asparagus and eggplant I lose through the grates. To remedy, I disassemble everything. Start by shutting off and disconnecting the gas supply. If it's been some time since the burner tubes have been removed and cleaned, it might be a good idea to consider it. If you've observed inconsistent or non-existent burner flame, there may be blockage. Spiders and other bugs are known to crawl inside and make homes and thus block the gas and airflow. Use a strong wire brush so the ports the flame comes out are free and clear. With the tubes cleaned, work on down towards the firebox and drip pan. The tool of choice here is a plastic putty knife. For the most part, a good scrape will remove most of the crud. The firebox and drip pan should be kept relatively clean. Excessive food and grease built up could lead to fire. Also, one of the most important parts to check on the gas grill is just that, the gas. Whether using propane or natural gas, it's always a good idea to check the connections. To test the connections, turn the gas on and use soapy water and a brush to paint the joints. A leaky joint will blow bubbles. A solid connection will not. The joint right here is solid and airtight. It's what you want to see. Well, I try hard to keep the exterior of my grills looking great year-round. The winter months make a full clean a little tricky. This is my time to make up for it. And thanks to Weber's exterior grill cleaner and stainless steel polish, it makes the job fast and easy. A charcoal grill is easy to keep running in tip-top shape, and a hint of warmer weather makes it a great time to inspect your grill's components. Charcoal grates, grill grates, and the one-touch cleaning system, everything is in great shape. No matter what type of grill you have, check the owner's manual. The manual has gone the way of the trash, don't worry, you can find yours at Weber.com. A little bit of preventative time in the spring can go a long way to make this summer's grilling safer and the life expectancy of your grill last a little longer. Plus, nothing says happiness like a clean grill.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Hey y'all, Austin here, and we did a video a couple years ago on my Northwind switchgrass, which I've got 5 of them here, and a very common question we get is like, when do I cut these, what do I do, whatever. What I want you to know is that you can cut these whenever they go brown if you want to. Now me, it's kind of a backdrop to my bed, so I kind of like to keep them up through the winter. I don't mind seeing this tan, old foliage up over the winter time, because it kind of adds to my bed, and they blow in the breeze and they look kind of nice. But what I was gonna say is I like to prune mine in the spring, and this is when I decide to do it. Come here. Come in here, and we see, look, new growth forming. All of these little bitty stems are starting to come up, and they're gonna be our new foliage for the spring. So this is my cue to cut, and we're gonna go ahead and get these chopped back, and we're gonna see new stuff come around it. All right, so I'm gonna show you how easy this can be. We're gonna prune 5 of these Northwinds in a matter of minutes. So I got Caroline here helping me. She's gonna ponytail these guys, and we're gonna get to work. Let's go. All right, so we cut them back, they look good. I take them to about shin level usually, that's where I like to go, and then the new stuff's gonna form and it's gonna get way taller. They're gonna get all the way up into here in the spring, but we've opened them up and we get some sunlight on them and we're gonna see some new growth soon.
Nestled in Nashville along the Cumberland River, Green Door Gourmet is a 350-acre organic farm, agritourism operation, and on-farm store. Green Door Gourmet grows a wide variety of fruits, flowers, vegetables, and herbs using holistic organic methods, providing our customers, including local restaurants and florists, with the absolute best direct from the field produce. Enjoy seasonal cut farm flower bouquets all summer long with our Green Door Gourmet Flower CSA. Farm field trips are offered March through October, as well as seasonal cooking classes and on-farm events such as our annual Fall Fest. Our on-farm store features Green Door Gourmet produce as well as products from our farm partners, the area's best local producers, including grass-fed meats, honey, jam, dairy, baked goods, and much more. Our local farm box program allows customers to take home a box with a variety of produce options based on what is growing at Green Door Gourmet. Join us in the spring for the You Pick Strawberry season. Our Countrypolitan White Oak Community Center is the perfect setting for weddings, meetings, farm-to-table and corporate events, and social occasions. Come visit Green Door Gourmet, just minutes from downtown Nashville.
Slow cooking at its best, a beef stew. For the Irish month, we're going to have an Irish stew.
Yes, and you could substitute lamb if you didn't want to use beef and Irish it up even more, if you will. So when you're using your slow cooker, your crock pot, I remember my mother's original crock pot.
Oh, yeah.
I sure wish I still had it, believe it or not.
Really?
Because there's just something about having that earthenware flavor in those original crock pots. They were awesome. So if you've still got one and it's still kicking, don't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Keep it. They don't make them like they used to anymore. So now they have new fancy fangled ones, and we're going to show you that because many of them have a low and a high setting, and you can pre-program in the times and all of that. So the most important thing to know is on the home setting, do you need it on the table fast or do you need it on the table more leisurely? You're going to let it go all day. If it's all day, you're going to use your low setting. You need to speed it up. You're going to use your high setting.
Gotcha.
If you're using your high setting, you're going to need more liquid because it's going to cook harder, faster. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so.
You don't want it to sizzle down and then become glue.
No, that is not fun when you have to take the chisel out to get what's in the crock pot out of it. That is not fun. So if you're doing meat in with something, a lot of times I do one extra step, and that extra step would be using either a skillet or a Dutch oven to brown the meat first. So if I was going to make this original, I would take that cast iron enameled pot that I have there, put a little bit of oil in the bottom, maybe a little bit of flour if I want it to thicken up, because flour is a thickener just on the meat, and I would put it in for a minute and take it out for a minute. Super fast, super easy. And then I would layer that into my crock pot. With that, I'm going to put in my aromatics. And my aromatics and my mirepoix, which is...
Oh, that's carrots, celery, and onions.
See, I gave you a visual cue. I didn't even do this to make you see if you knew what you were talking about.
Mirepoix.
So with your mirepoix, you can put that in. I generally put that in the bottom, and then I put the meat on top of that, and I'm going to cover it with my braising liquid. If I have something, say I was doing a pot roast or I was doing a shoulder or something like that, and I wanted to use these flavors, but I didn't want it to sit down in there all the way because I'm going to go even lower and slower, not as much liquid, then I can cheat and I can use whole vegetables. Like I could take the tops off of these beautiful baby carrots that we saw and put the carrots themselves whole, smaller pieces, cut the onion into quarters and use it like a little riser. To put in the bottom of the crock pot and then put my liquid in, and then it will steam over everything to make a nice roast that is steamed more than braised inside that liquid.
Yeah, and I love it. And when you braise it first in a skillet or something, you get that nice brown coloring and you get that taste that's nice and brown.
Yes, you're going to sear in that flavor. The same thing as steak on the grill. You put it on the hottest part of the grill first, and then you move it over to a little bit less on intensity sort of thing. So for this, what I would do is if I pretend I was going to brown my liquid, my oil with my ground beef, then I would put in my aromatics. Devon, can you help me there with the carrots?
I sure can.
Put in maybe 2 good handfuls of carrots there.
Okay. Okay.
Now, as my mama would say, I need farm girl handfuls.
Okay.
A little more. There you go. Perfect. And then, since you're practicing, let's do some celery.
Okay.
There you go. Practice makes perfect.
All right.
And you see, I was going to act like I liked you today, and I went ahead and cut these up so we wouldn't have to cry together. We wouldn't have to think of something sad. We're going to think of happy things, making this beef stew.
That's right.
And we're going to put these in. So these are just done as half moons. You can dice them if you want to, however you want to do it. I'm going to put that in, just kind of layer it in there. And you see, just making a nice little amount of stuff there. Okay, and then this is our pretend we have browned this ground beef. We're going to put that in as well there, Devon.
Go ahead and put it in.
Go ahead and put it in. We're not going to make our viewers wait for me to brown it. We're just going to go ahead and put that in.
Because it'll still brown.
Oh, yeah, it'll brown. It just won't be as seared, if you will.
Okay.
If you are super ambitious and you want to make your own beef stock, you can do that. You roast the bones. You take them out, and then you put them in with those same aromatics that we talked about, the celery, the onion, and the carrot, some water, and let them cook low and slow until it is like super, super smelling wonderful in the air and the liquid is reduced. So I have some beef stock here. What I would do is, if I didn't want to use wine in what I was cooking, I would use all beef stock. But, you know, I really like this Ember Falls wine for cooking.
Yeah, the Cajun.
Fest.
Yeah, because it's got some spice and kick to it.
Yes, and so it brings a little green pepper flavor into what we're doing. So I'm going to use half of this bottle
Uh-huh.
in. Oh, that's not enough. Even a half yet. We're going to put half in. Oh, and an extra splurge just because we can. And the reason I use white onions, you see the red onion here?
Yeah.
This can make the broth turn kind of gray looking. Red onion, when you cook it, turns things kind of gray. So save this for your raw cooking.
Yeah, it looks really good in a salad, not so good when you cook it.
No, not so good, especially with mushrooms. It just turns grayish brown and it's not fun. And then I'm going to finish putting in my liquid with my beef stock here. And I'm going to cover it. I'm not going to overflow it. I'm going to cover it. And then I'm going to use some aromatics.
Oh my gosh.
Your favorite.
Bay leaf, is that?
Yeah, bay leaf. And you can use fresh bay if you have your own fresh bay tree. Not bay laurel, different plant. Bay leaf is different. And I really like bay with beef. So I'm going to put a handful in. And also, we all have these. We buy a big thing of them and they sit in our cabinet a long time.
Yeah.
They're going to lose flavor over the course of time. So if you would normally put in 2, it's been sitting there over 6 months, you probably put in 4 or 5 just to give you the flavor presence that you need.
And you pull them out. Do you pull yours out?
Yes.
Before you serve or whatever, because they're not fun to eat.
No, you don't want to try to eat those. You always take those out. And we're doing a little Cajun.
Don't ask me how I know.
Oh, really?
The first time, I was young. I didn't know what it was, and I just manged down on bay leaf. Went to somebody's house that had, Italian, they were cooking Italian food, had a bay leaf, and they go, you take that out, you take that out. I go, now you tell me. So I'm just, for anybody who doesn't know like me, I'm going to tell you, take the bay leaf out, even after you cook.
And if you forget or you miss one, and someone has it in their bowl and you see it, you go, you're the lucky one at the table. Guess what? You get an extra serving of pie just because you found the bay leaf. You don't let them know that you forgot to take it out, right? Or you missed one. You roll with the flow. That's the grade of hospitality. Since we're going Cajun style, a little thyme. This is just a dried thyme. You can put in thyme sprigs if you wanted to be able to pull that out. My stock already has salt in it.
Okay.
I'm not going to put salt or pepper in right now.
Okay.
I season at the end. It has a little bit in the stock. That's enough. And just for kicks and giggles, since we're going Cajun,
sage,
a little bit of filet.
Filet. Well, sassafras, isn't it?
Yes, sassafras, yes. So just a little bit, sprinkle on top of the filet here. And you'll get that nuance and you'll say, what made that so good? So you've got all those kind of Cajun flavors in there. I'm going to put the lid on this puppy and I'm going to let it go low and slow for 8 hours. I'm going to pretend I had to go to work. I'm going to come back in 8 hours and it's going to be ready to go. All I have to do is make some mashed potatoes, some really nice rice, serve it over top, nice bowl, family's fed, one dish to do.
Oh,
hallelujah.
So good. This is an example of what you would do like Saturday night before you go to church, and then you get home and it's done.
Yes.
See, that's that perfect time period.
Just leave
and
it
you get
alone
home
and
and the house smells like so good.
Or you can put this all the way in the back and you have your guests and you come out and you have the flour all over you. You say, I've been slating all day. Oh. And then take all the credit and let the crock pot do all the work.
I love it. I love it. Okay, that is our Cajun slow cooker pot roast. Thank you so much. Just join us at the end and we'll fill you in on how you serve this coming up.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller from Mornings on Main Street. Join us March 23rd at Bridgestone Arena with the Nashville Predators for Main Street Media Night. I know Devon O'Day will be here.
You know I will be, Stephanie. Plus, you can register for a Predators prize pack. They were going to call it the Hockey Hootenanny, but they changed. So it's going to have 4 tickets and food vouchers. You got to register to win.
We're looking forward to seeing all of our Main Street Sports Today fans, right, Chris?
Absolutely, we are. And we could not do this without, of course, our owner, Dave Gould, and our friends here at Smashville.
Speaking of,
where is Dave?
we will see you March 23rd for Main Street Media Night. Let's go, Prince!
Do I have the wrong night? All right, good.
Good day, everybody. This is Matt Webb with UT Extension, Marshall County. We're here on a beautiful spring day. Wanted to talk to you about rain barrels, how they are used for our case of watering our livestock, but we also use it for the garden. And so this is a good activity, something that you can use around your place. So I have my helpers here with me today. They helped me put all the pipes together and helped me with the design and various things that went with it. And my helper here, he came up with some steps as we was working through that. And will you mind telling me again what those steps are?
Design, build, test, improve, celebrate.
Okay, so the design, build, test, improve, and celebrate. Okay, we had to do a lot of improving too, didn't we?
Yeah.
Tell you what we got here. We got two of the IBC totes. Both of these are 275 gallons, so we have 550 gallons of capacity here. All the things, all the pipes and stuff you can find at any hardware store. For our particular design, we use 3-inch PVC on the barn, coming off of the barn, and then all the pipes that went into the tanks were 2-inch. And so the way I designed mine is that I have a flush that's coming off of the barn that's collecting water, because we have a lot of pollen that collects on the roof of these barns, and it'll be the same for your house or shops or anything else. As the rain and the water comes into the tanks, both the tanks are going to pretty much fill simultaneously as they go up. And so once they get to the top, it's going to hit that top pipe system, and then that excess water is going to have an overflow over here. Okay, we leveled this. We put pallets up under these so they're up off the ground. A couple of features that I added to this is that eventually you are going to have stuff that's going to enter the tanks that you're going to want to drain out. So I did put a 2-inch ball valve down here on the end, so if the tanks ever start to get nasty, we can open it up and let that come out of the tanks. The other end is just an ordinary garden hose valve, and we have a garden hose that, as you'll follow me, you can follow me to the tank. And this is a gravity system. There's no electricity, there's no gasoline or anything that's associated with this. So everything has to depend on gravity. And so everything's got to be, your water needs to be high so it can flow down to where you need it to go. And you'll get up here a little close, you can see that there's your float valve there. And as that water fills the tank, then that float valve rises up and closes the water off. And so probably in our case, between the totes and all the parts that went with it, this cost about $250 to install. We are on a county water system, so this was just an idea for us to try to get at least what the sheep needed off of our bill. You can send us our questions by UT Extension Marshall County on our Facebook page. And I hope that everybody has a good day, and I hope this was a help to you.
Baking powder is a leavener that we use to lighten the texture and cause baked goods to rise. It's very important in baking, but it's also important that we utilize it correctly. If it's not fresh, your baking powder is not going to do its job for lightening up your baked goods. So what we're going to do is test our baking powder. We're going to start with some hot water, about a cup, and we're going to test different levels of baking powder and show you the difference. Okay, so what we've got first is a really, really old baking powder. We're going to add about a teaspoon of this to the hot water, and you can see that it does nothing. So this baking powder needs to be discarded. Then we've got one that's expired, but it's not quite as old as the previous baking powder. We're going to add it to the water, and you can see you've got a little bit of activity left, but not a lot. Let's show you what baking powder should do. We're going to take a teaspoon of really fresh baking powder, add it to the hot water, and you can see the difference. This is what you want to happen with your baking powder. This one is fresh and ready to use and is going to make your baked goods nice and light.
Well, we have had quite the show, but the show is just getting started because I wanted to find out, we have our Cajun slow cooker pot roast here. How do you serve it? And can you have stew without having potatoes? I'm Irish, so I don't think so, but...
The great thing is when you're putting in those aromatics, if you have some potatoes that are, say, about this size, which is a B size, so you have A, B, C.
Oh, okay.
So you can take your B potatoes, make sure they're clean, leave the skin on, cut them into quarters. By leaving the skin, the potato doesn't fall apart as much. And you can put those in at the same time you're putting the celery and everything else in, fine. You're like, I don't have potatoes like this. I've got some potatoes left over from when I was making potato salad or anything else. So you've got some potatoes that are just sitting in their little water bath in the fridge. I would put these in toward the end, like 2 hours in, they don't cook into nothing. Or I would make mashed potatoes because I love the gravy that this makes to go over top of mashed potatoes.
Ooh, have a nice big, almost a flat bowl. Put your potatoes in the center and then
make a little well.
A little well, yes, and put it all around. Oh, that's a great way to serve it.
Dig a little deeper in the well right there. And you know the best hint for mashed potatoes, Devon, should I tell everybody my secret?
Tell us your secret.
So you wonderful cooks out there, you all know to warm up your butter and your cream before you add it into your potatoes.
See, I didn't know that. Warm up the butter and the cream. Do you need to melt the butter?
Melt the butter in the cream and then put in a couple of tablespoons of cream cheese. Ooh. That will stop your potatoes from getting overly starchy and the water coming out in them.
Oh, yes.
So
I've seen that.
Little cream cheese.
Little cream cheese. Do you need to warm that up a little bit?
Put that in with your butter and your cream as it's melting and just use that. Put it in, pound them all up. I use the old-fashioned potato ricer.
Yeah.
Some people use a beater. Hazel Daniels. She is the queen of using a beater to make mashed potatoes. She's awesome at it. Charlie loved the potatoes that way.
Yeah.
But I'm an old-fashioned. I got to get all my frustrations out with the potatoes.
I love it. Well, I know that you can get all sorts of great recipes, and your slow cooker is your friend. If you work hard every day, you can take it and start it in the morning. When you get home at night, supper's cooked, and you really do stretch out. If you were cooking beef for everybody and you had to have servings for everybody, it might cost more, but this is a great way to make the money stretch. You guys, that's our show for today. And remember, if you want to find a blessing, you got to first be one.
When you feel lost and